Welcome back to Memeobi's Galaxy, the only corner of the galaxy where memes meet meaning and the Force is always strong. I am your host, Mmemeobi, your guide through the chaos of the Empire, Rebellion, and the fan base. I am joined today by Ethan, my co-pilot on this ride through the stars, and let me just say, today's hyperspace jump takes us straight into the heart of the Rebellion. That's right, we're talking about the last 3 episodes of the Andor finale. We're going to talk all things Star Wars, not all things Star Wars, all things Andor Season 2 finale. So if you don't want spoilers, leave now or forever hold your peace. Let us get into it. Ethan, how are we doing today? First off, are you alive? Well?
Doing good, alive and well. I loved the finale.
Any big news in your life you need to talk about right off the bat? Anyone needs to know?
I just landed a role in a Shakespeare play,
nice.
And I'm playing 5 characters.
That is very cool. Yes, Ethan does some acting in live things and maybe not live. Wait, obviously live, but...
Yeah. I just got accepted at an agency to start doing some film acting, but for a while I've been doing live theater acting. So excited about film stuff, but yeah, I got some exciting opportunities coming up.
That is very exciting.
The big goal is Star Wars.
Obviously, you will get in Star Wars someday.
Someday.
You will be the next Andor.
I want to be the first Star Wars character known for his big mustache.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's not really a thing. There's a guy with a big mustache in this one, though.
There was a guy with a big mustache in this one.
And I was like, no.
Okay, so let us go ahead and
let's get into it.
Let's jump into it. Let's just hit it. So the show starts out with a call from our spy friend to Luthen. And then Luthen, you could kind of tell before he went out, right, that he was expecting to die.
Yeah.
Because she says, if it doesn't look, if you don't feel, what did she say? If it doesn't look perfect. And he's like, I think we ran out of perfect a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then she looks at him like realizing this is the last time they're really going to talk to each other. Yep. So they depart. Luthen does this. I mean, like, he's been stringing this guy along for years, obviously, just to get information out of him. Yeah. This spy. The way this like last 3, the way it's shot is so different than the rest of them. They do a lot of things where they have the guy like looking off screen, but his like nose is right next to like the right side. He's looking like most of the screen is not looking at anyone. The way they frame everything, like it's framed really low behind like the bench where they're talking.
Oh yeah.
Makes you feel like you're eavesdropping. But obviously it's a little more important because they're meeting out in public. Yeah. They're not meeting in the dungeons.
This whole finale was filmed different than I feel like the last few episodes, just the fact that we didn't see Andor, in the first episode.
Yeah, I think, and they normally do in these shows, they normally do different directors per like set of 3. But what I will say, going into that, them talking, I could just tell Luthen was probably going to kill him. Yeah. I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, he could tell as he was having to tell what he heard, Yeah. Because he was like, I have important news to tell you, but I have to run, I can't tell you here. He's like, where are we going? He's like, you have to tell me right now.
He's like, tell me. And then what I think...
He was really trying to say it somewhere else, though. Like, he knew he was going to die.
Yeah. But what gave it away to me is when Luthen said Yavin.
Oh, yeah?
Because I don't think Luthen would just randomly just give up the name of a rebel base.
Huh.
I think that was a show of like, hey, you trust me, I'm telling you where the rebels are. But like after he said that, I was like, oh, he has to kill him because he can't let that leak. Yeah. Because this guy is such an asset that's gonna just totally cave under
crazy.
any like imperial like torture. Like, this guy's gonna tell everything he knows. So he found out there's a bunch of information about kyber crystals and Gorman and like all this stuff. So Luthen just kills him dead.
Kills him.
We get a Loth cat.
We don't see him kill him, but he just walks away from the bench and he has a bullet hole in his upper right shoulder or whatever, or in his heart, I think, something like that.
Dead. Yeah, and then it was pretty stressful actually. It wasn't like as stressful as I think they could have made the whole show. Yeah, but there's definitely times in these last 3 that I was like stressed.
Oh, for sure.
Like because it all starts when Dedra shows up at the shop. Yeah, and Luthen is like, he's still like, I feel like he's not 100% sure. Like, she's found him out. Yeah, like because he's playing the part still, but like
right. And he kind of was just getting caught. That's right when he was burning all the evidence. Trying to get rid of the radio comm thing was that he was trying to get rid of it ahead of time. There's smoke going up in the room as Dedra's gonna walk in. But yeah, that was a crazy scene. Just for them to walk in, the way they played it off at the start was kind of like Dedra was a customer, and then she was like, cut it out. I know what you did.
It was definitely like you could tell that she wasn't just into catching him. She wanted to be the one that caught him.
Yeah.
Right. Cause she went around the order of service or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Like with the protocols, because I think that's because she did get attacked in the season 1. So it was like more personal to her than just like, oh, she's trying to find Axis. No, it's because she like almost died because of it. So she's like, I need to get this guy kind of deal.
Right. And it was interesting too in that scene. I mean, we talked about it, but the way that like Luthen welcomed her in, handed her the knife, you know, and like big sign of trust, it was like handing you a knife. I'm trying to. Yeah. It didn't feel like he was hiding anything yet, And
yeah, that's how I felt watching it.
Because I mean, the way he was talking to her, it was as if he had thought she didn't know anything yet. He was still playing off his role, you know. But then she was like, cut it out. I know everything. I know what you got there, and I think it was significant though when they were showing that knife. Obviously, that's how he killed himself, or tried to. Yeah, he wasn't necessarily dead yet.
It almost feels like that's why he keeps it on the showroom floor.
Yeah,
like he knows. Like I feel like he knew that day. Like he knew this whole time this is how he's going to die eventually. Not like not necessarily the knife, but he knew he was going to not die like a hero's death. Yeah, by any means.
It is interesting to me. He stabbed himself like in the stomach.
Well, classic. What is that? Those samurai or whatever.
Oh yeah. I mean, if he knew he had to be dead, though.
Here's the thing. I mean, it is hard to harm yourself.
True.
Personally.
Yeah.
But like in our world, like gut wounds are not very livable. Like every time someone gets shot in the stomach, I used to have friends that were doctors. Like, well, he's dead. Yeah. Like in real life, you get shot in the stomach, you can't rebuild that stuff. Like shoulder, arm, like you're good. I think maybe that's his thinking. But what else? A fun Easter egg or a thing was. He mentioned he's like, there are only 2 antiquities in this shop that may not be real or whatever he said, right? Oh, sorry. Which was the knife and him.
Oh, interesting.
That's what I think it was. I think it's like I don't know, which is a fun way to write it. I think.
Huh. Yeah.
He gets caught. They take him away. We go to a hospital.
Yeah, because she got really worried as soon as he stabbed himself. He was like, we need him alive.
Yeah, because if he's not alive, then it's just an old guy that just killed himself.
Yep.
And and now she's like in a lot of trouble, which she gets in more trouble later.
Yes.
So at that point, she, his right-hand person named Kayla, what's her name? Clea.
Yeah.
Sees that he's alive. So now she knows. I didn't see when we were watching this. I didn't realize she was going there to finish the job.
Yeah,
I thought she was going back to save him.
Well, I know because they showed the flashback with her and him. And it was like the way it felt. Yeah, it was like she loves him. She fathered him. Yeah, I mean he fathered her.
Yeah, like he saved her, so she should save him.
Yeah, so she should save him.
That's definitely how it felt. I would say.
Yeah, we definitely learned as the scene went on. That's not what she was doing.
No, and I honestly, I didn't get it until like she got there.
Yeah.
Like I thought she was still going to save him in the room when we were watching it. I thought like she was going to try to drag this guy out. It wasn't until she unhooked him. Like, oh, okay.
It still was like a cool emotional moment though.
No,
like, it made sense to show all the flashbacks and everything. You know,
okay. So the flashbacks. This is where I got confused. I thought I had found out some crazy cool thing.
We had to double check.
I thought Andor's sister was Clea because she was on like a planet. She was all like beat up looking. I thought that's what Luthen was killing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Luthen, it's cool to see. Honestly, I like seeing his origin story. Mm-hmm. Right, he was like a lieutenant in the military, and like he had PTSD. Basically, like he didn't want to take it anymore.
Yeah.
Because at that point, obviously, it was just a massacre.
Yeah.
Literally a massacre. Like you could overhear the radio, like. Talking about burning down the streets, strafing them, killing them all. Like, yeah.
Yeah, he was just making up reasons to stay inside the ship and not go back out.
So then, like, he had, once he saw Clea, he had, like, a reason. Like, okay, I'm going to at least save someone.
Yeah.
At which point, then we get I thought the flashbacks were cool because it starts, man, I keep dropping this thing. It's cool because it starts out where, like, they don't have much, and then they, like, each one, they get a little bit more and more fancy. They have more and more stuff. They're better at negotiating. And then they're, like, blowing up stuff. And I don't know. It was cool. I like seeing his. He was always kind of a jerk, but like I like his backstory a lot.
Yeah, I mean, just to see him at as like a father to her.
Yeah.
You know, the way he treated it. It was pretty cool. And she just, I don't even know how to explain their relationship, you know, but it was like he had to get something done. If she was in the way, all right, it's all on you. I'll leave you. And he just walked away, you know.
He's like, stay here if you want. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, honestly.
You can see why Clea has built up to be such a strong fighter for him, too.
Yeah.
You know, growing up that way. And the way they, like, did that gambling thing, or not gambling, bartering.
Yeah, bartering.
Yeah, the bartering at the shop,
shows
too.
how
and
good
like,
she is at it.
Yeah, she showed up and she's like, bartered for a way better deal, you know. So it's cool to see, like, it showed that strength in her already at a young age. So.
Yeah, and I felt like we got enough of them overall this season. I feel satisfied with their story.
For sure.
Like, obviously, like, I almost like, Andor's good. He is good. But, like, these two, is like, it's a pretty solid story, and I really do enjoy Luthen.
Luthen's a great character. That's something with this whole show of season 2.
He's such a good actor.
He's a great actor, and this character in the series,
cool.
like
it's a cool character.
He's a cool character. This whole thing with him, like tying up all these loose ends, you know, and it's like if they're in the way, they're dead. You know, it's like and these two characters he's playing with the wig and without, you know, this rich man and this spy. It was such a cool character design. I love that. Yeah,
I agree. And that's and then we learn that they have all these like fail safes, right? So. Clea goes back to their safe house and then like digs up an old transponder out of the wall.
Yeah.
And like there's all these things like you can tell like this has been implemented, right? Because so she sends out the call to Andor or whoever doing like the old school beeping or whatever, like pretty much Morse code.
Morse coding basically.
And then then we find out that it's something they've memorized. It's not like a real code.
Yeah.
It's just a code that they've taught Andor and them. Like this is the end all be all transponder.
Yep.
If this goes off, like we're dying basically. Like this is the end.
Right.
Which I thought was cool. And another thing I thought was cool in season 1, he does the whole speech like, "I am doomed to use the tools of my enemy," or whatever. Right. He literally is doing that because it finds out that the radio tower they're using for all their main messaging is like an Imperial antenna the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Like the main one they've been using.
Yeah.
I thought that was a fun little detail.
Yeah.
Just them like having to actually using the tools.
You know, something that I thought was interesting with all of this story and this this first episode of the finale.
Yeah.
Dedra really got a bad rap from her team. You know, like she was doing an amazing job. She would have probably had that handled before Clea got there if she was still there, you know, but they were not seeing it that way with her. And something I wanted to ask you about. I was recalling that scene where she's being interrogated
by Krennic.
Yeah, by Krennic.
Yeah, and pokes her in the head.
He's like, "So you're something like you're a scavenger or something like that." Yeah. You know, and she wasn't playing the role that she was appointed to be. Yeah, and I know when he pointed his finger on the top of her head.
The way that scene was filmed was cool because you like didn't see his face for a while.
Yeah,
they made it seem like I don't know. I loved how it was filmed.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
What were you gonna ask?
I was gonna ask what he meant by that scavenger. What's he referring to?
Right. So she was scavenging information from like the databases and stuff. Right. Like she was finding like different messages to help her find. Because she's not supposed to be finding access anymore.
So I guess what I was confused about is like, why would he be upset at that? Is it just because it's not her assigned role?
Yeah, she's supposed to stay in her.
Or is he thinking that she might be doing it for someone else?
I think.
Well, she was kind of being accused of that too. Like,
she was being accused of a spy.
But then he came to the conclusion of you're just being a scavenger, and it was still a bad thing.
But like that is the Empire, right? The way the Emperor has it set up is you kind of have to backstab your way up. You have to make everyone afraid of you. Like the Empire's built on fear. Like we see that in the hospital. Like he tries to get the main guy arrested. Totally. So like that's the way the Emperor has it set up is like you have to kind of be a scavenger to get what you want to get your promotion. Huh. And it potentially would have worked out if if like Luthen didn't die. Yeah. It would have been fine. Right. Like everyone would have been like, so everything would have paid off. But she like kept information and that's when like the spy found out about it. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised I guess it makes sense they didn't kill her because they do need people for their prisons. Yeah, or even like I was almost expecting a little bit more torture out of her too in there, but she was honestly, that interrogation was enough to frighten her. You know, but the thing was like she is on their side. She was giving all the information she had. She had no reason not to tell the truth. But obviously, Krennic this is the big secret, right?
Yeah.
That like the Emperor's been trying to hide from the Senate all these years. Like this is like priority one of the Emperor to not let it get out.
Yeah.
Because once they build it, this is a detail I didn't realize. In episode 4 of Star Wars, A New Hope, they're like sitting on the Death Star. It's like the scene where Darth Vader first chokes the guy or whatever, like for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Right when they walk in, he's like, "This will never pass the Senate. This is blah, blah, blah." And then Grand Admiral Grand Admiral or Admiral, what's the freaking...
You're talking about Tarkin?
Yeah, Tarkin? How do I not say Tarkin?
I figured that's what you were saying.
Tarkin walks in. He's like, "We don't need to worry about the Senate anymore. Emperor has just dissolved it." So at that point, since they had the Death Star operational, he completely got rid of the Senate. The Senate's no longer a thing in episode 4.
Huh.
I never realized that because it was just like a one-off line I never really paid attention to.
Yeah.
So apparently at that point, he dissolved the Senate because now he can rule by fear because he can just blow anyone up.
Whoa. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Because at that point, they had to do like all this red tape to do anything in like military.
Yeah.
But like now, like there's no more Senate. He just dissolved it. Now they can do whatever they want.
That's crazy.
I don't know. It was a cool detail I just realized today, which I thought was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's such a powerful move. They're such a controlling thing, like ruling by fear in general.
Yeah.
That's I see what you're saying. That's so
because he literally
imperial.
says, "Fear will keep the local star systems in line.
Yeah.
Fear of this battle station."
Yeah, it was cool to hear like how in these scenes too, the importance of when they would say the words, the Death Star.
Yeah.
He's like, just say it. Say the words.
Death Star.
Death Star.
Yeah. Because at that point it was kind of like it's still such a big secret, man. Like they couldn't let it out.
Yeah.
It was, like that. The other guy's like, "Why is Krennic here? What is he doing here? Why is it so important? Why is it like,"
yeah.
Because he didn't know because it is such a tight kept secret.
Going into the next thing with this.
Yeah.
We finally got to see some fighting action from K2SO.
That's true.
That's where, she makes the call in with her whatever coding thing that they memorized, and they get there at the same time that it's been figured out by the Imperials.
Yeah.
They're arriving at the same time as Andor
and
whatever his friend is. With K2SO. So it's kind of, like you said earlier, this was an intense scene, this build up and you feel so nervous for them, like who's going to get there first, like, what's going to happen. And so obviously Andor made it there first, but it still was a problem because it was, they didn't really have much of a way to defend themselves. Yeah. They had these like little pistols with them.
Yeah. Because I don't think I think they were expecting to do like an easy, just maybe shoot a couple guys and just get out.
I thought it was the perfect time to bring in a scene for K2SO. He was killer.
It made the most sense. I think, obviously, I think most people want more K2SO.
Yeah, I wanted more.
I think
that's the only thing I would say. And I think you were saying it last night is that
they
cut out some stuff. Yeah,
they scrapped the whole episode.
I probably would have liked to see what they scrapped. It feels like there was such a build up to K2SO that just that scene of him fighting didn't feel like a lot.
Yeah, on the K2SO side, K they call him. It did feel like when they get back to Yavin at the end, and they're like power down was kind of like a way to like save money, because obviously every scene he's in they have to completely do CGI the whole time.
Oh yeah.
So I think just like trying not to have him in things was like part of like the okay we don't because that's why they scrapped the episode all about K2SO because it's budget.
Huh.
It was budgetary, I believe.
That's sad.
I believe. But what we like obviously like on Yavin when he's like playing poker and stuff, like it was really fun to see.
Yeah, I love the personality that they showed for K2SO.
Yeah, I think that showing a little bit more behind of like how he is, I think is super solid. And then he
when Andor and his friend, I'm forgetting his name, but we're playing poker against him, and they're just like messing with him, like, oh, but you don't really know how a human would respond to this, He's
like, I have 842 games I've played against you. I should know.
Yeah.
I think K2SO. I think like that's the thing about the show is like all the main characters like were just so solid.
For sure.
I think most people's complaints are just like pacing, and like. People feeling like it's a lot of filler episodes.
See, and I feel like that complaint comes out of not watching the 3 in the release time that they did.
Oh, like watching it when it comes out.
If I didn't watch 3 at a time in the release that they did, I probably would have that same complaint.
Well,
thinking back on it, I can see how it would feel like a filler episode.
We will find out in the next episode because we do have someone coming on.
Yeah, we will.
Who has a lot of notes.
I will say, though, for my opinion, I posted something today.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes put a 98% on this.
Dang. So K2SO kills it, and literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
I love the whole scene. I was definitely not, I wasn't stressed because I was stressed for
when they threw that concussion grenade. That was like, I mean, you said it too. Like, they got him. Oh my goodness! Like that was crazy.
I thought that she could die. I was only because I knew both of them, Andor and the other guy, are in Rogue One, so I know they make it right.
Yeah, because she did already tell them.
But
when she told them though, it seemed like they didn't have it memorized. Like they weren't getting it.
Yeah.
You know. So that's why, like, if she were to die right there, I was like, oh shoot, is he gonna remember?
True, but I do think. But I mean, obviously, he had a great spiel later.
Oh, I know. His memory was like better than when she said it.
He is a spy. This is what he does.
True. That's a good point.
He gets characters that he plays just through an earpiece, and he gets it once, and he's done. Right? Like this is his thing. But what I will say, like, that whole scene was, it was cool. It was cool seeing just the underbelly of like Star Wars and just like seeing the different kind of troops and different military people. And
that scene, by the way, is where that mustache man was.
The mustache man in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then K2SO just shows up and he rebels and goes against him. And he does what he wants. And it was solid. It was just such a solid scene. And then
it's cool when he picked up the gun too. I didn't expect that. You know, he's just kind of been walking in there with, you know, just arms and legs,
hitting everybody.
But he picked up the guy's gun and used that. Or did he use it?
He used, dude, he picked up the one guy and used him as a shield.
Yeah, that was
the
crazy.
guy gets shot like 7 times.
That main dude,
crazy.
I mean, not a main, but kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It definitely felt like the scene in Rogue One where he's like, "Congratulations, you're being rescued."
Yeah.
When he like takes over. K2SO is such a solid character. Like, it is a bummer we don't have more.
For sure.
Like, I don't know. Obviously, they can't just. I don't know why they can't just give us what we want, but it definitely feels like we could have gotten him a little earlier. But I get that the episodes. I agree, I get that the episodes are supposed to be like. There's no time jumps within one episode, like of 3, right? Because we have 4 sets of 3 episodes. They don't do like a time jump within there. It's supposed to be like, oh, this is a continuous. So they could have gotten him 1 year earlier, probably.
Speaking of droids and the amount of time we saw him on screen, what do you think about how much we saw of B?
B, he is a fan favorite for sure from season 1. I never really cared about him personally.
Yeah,
I don't. Whatever to me. I think it was good they tied up his loose end.
Yeah, the very end we finally saw him,
and he's like running around having a great life. I thought that was awesome. I felt like it was a classic kind of like, it felt kind of like 80s 90s end of movie, where like at the end, so this end now, when Andor's like walking out and is doing like a showing where everyone is.
Yeah. Right?
Like it shows that Clea is like on it, like doing okay. It shows that
that is kind of like a 90s thing, you know, where like they pan at the end and they show everyone happy in their homes. It's a nice looking town.
I wish they would have just done the words like, after this, Mon Mothma went on to, you know, at the end of the movies, went on to win All-State NBA, you know, whatever.
But speaking of, well, I mean, continue. Go ahead.
So we got that, right? We got Mon Mothma is like, she's less of a senator now. She's sitting with the people on like the table. We get Bix. She's living her life on a farm.
Yeah, so Bix
is
her baby.
She has a child. I've seen the fan theory that her child is Poe Dameron, which timeline works pretty close.
Yeah, it actually lines up really close.
Because this is 34 years before The Force Awakens, and Poe Dameron is 32. But what I will say, I do know that Poe Dameron's character was born on Yavin.
Oh.
Which is weird. So it's pretty close, though. It could have been, we could retcon that. But here's the thing. Huh. I'm glad they didn't, but I almost expected her to be like, your father would have loved it here, Poe. And like,
I know, just mention his name.
Because it feels like a, you know, like in the post-credit scene in like Pirates of the Caribbean when like Will has his son and like finds out he has a son named Will as well. Like, I don't know. It felt like I don't know. I was worried she was going to say something.
Yeah, she's just walking through there. And right about here's where your father saved us, Poe.
I am really glad it was not Poe. I think it was just to show that the rebellion is like, this is what we're fighting for. We're fighting for freedom of our people, so we can do what we want and live where we want, kind of deal.
Honestly, thinking of that too, last time we were talking about it,
Yeah.
it feeling kind of weird that she was just leaving. You know, we were like, it wasn't that outcome we expected. We thought she was going to die.
Yeah.
Now that she has a baby, it does actually make a lot more sense why she's leaving. You know, she's like, she can't have that burden on Andor. He would have not been able to accomplish the things he would.
I mean, technically, she could have just took him with him and just lived their lives. But you could tell, and I think what did it was last week's with the force
healer.
Her hearing that was like, dang, like this guy Andor needs to stay.
For sure, that's what it was.
And like, I didn't put that together till just now, but I just hadn't thought about it.
Oh, I thought we talked about that last time.
I thought that she just realized like, oh, he's the good guy and he's going to help the rebellion. I need to leave so I don't distract him. I didn't really put together that.
You didn't realize that
healer.
She was kind of foreseeing that or telling that to her.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah,
that's funny. When we were talking about it last time, I thought that's what you were saying.
Nope,
but
not at all.
So I did take it that way.
That's funny.
And we saw her again too in this last episode. You know, it was like when Andor walked back. You know, she looked at him.
Yeah.
It was kind of like this moment of, I do.
I don't want to go because our next episode is going to be all about what we would change or what we think we could have done better.
Wow.
And there are things.
Yeah, there are.
There's
not a lot for me.
What this is kind of like a teaser to what I want to say next week.
Okay.
What I was saying earlier, I wish that each set of 3 episodes wasn't continuous, meaning like wasn't just set over like a week or like a day or 2. Like I wish it could have been like months could have passed within those episodes, because most of them were just like, you know, episode 1 starts and then it's like by the end of it, it's the end of the wedding, like 3-4 days. And that was all that's over. I wish it could have gone over like a month and we could have gotten more, right? Like, because like the first set was like the wedding. All that happens in that is the wedding and they get off the planet of wheat, basically. Like, I wish it was a little bit longer, like a week or 2, and then we could see a little bit more, because I think that's people's main complaint. And I think that's what our guest is going to say next week.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what he says. You know, it's cool that we have a commentator coming on here, you know. But
I'm pretty excited for next week. So,
just real quick, a little teaser to that. I would actually disagree. I like the way that they laid it out. It feels like maybe just a few days instead of a month span.
And
for the
release. Reason I say that is so that maybe in episode 1 on the 3rd set of episodes, he could have got K2SO.
Oh, yeah.
And then we could have gotten to where we got more K2SO.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about it when that guy comes.
For sure.
That's something I'll say.
Mainly because of
there
K2SO.
was definitely times that K2SO could have gotten in earlier.
But I think because you could have gotten the first 2 sets of episodes in like the first 3 kind of deal if you would have put more time and like cut out some of the filler, because there is, I mean, there's filler in everything, right? But the filler from the director's point of view and the writer's point of view was important.
Yeah.
Most people are just like, oh, I need to write a filler episode. Okay, they're just going to hang out.
What I'm thinking now too is like we had a lot of Dedra. You know, there's so much of her and the build up to her not even being able to do
But like she was the only Imperial we really followed.
Yeah, I mean, besides one of the Imperials that we had as a spy from Luthen.
Yeah, but we didn't.
And then this other guy that
K2SO
used as a shield.
But we weren't really
friends with him.
But it wasn't like following him like every episode.
No,
Dedra's been consistent.
For sure.
Like that was our perspective into the Empire of what was happening.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad it wasn't just one-sided where we just see the rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
And like we don't know what they're going to do, which is like a lot of the shows do. Like Rebels, they follow the Rebels. They don't follow. They do a little bit on like Thrawn, but like they don't. It's not like half the show is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I enjoyed Dedra. I think her character was cool. I think she has like very minimal like character development, but like it makes sense because she loves the Empire, right? She was born in the Empire. She was born in like a camp. Like all she knows is rules, and all she wants is rules.
Right. I think they did a good job. If thinking onto when we're going to talk with him, I think K2SO is the only one I would mainly say.
Yeah, I think we
had. There was a lot of Dedra. We had a good amount of, I think the perfect amount for Mon Mothma, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Luthen is probably, to finalize like on what I think on this show, Luthen Rail was probably my favorite character.
I think so. I think Luthen killed it.
Him or Cyril. I actually really like Cyril Karn.
Really?
Yeah. I think he was a really great character.
Yeah, he was all right. It's definitely Andor and Luthen for me. They're just so solid.
Well, yeah, of course Andor.
That goes without saying.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the rebellion like not liking Luthen and like not accepting that this was truth?
I liked it. I think it felt it felt right to them. Mm-hmm. You know. Oh wait. You mean like when Andor brought the information?
Yeah,
to
and
them?
they're like, "Nah, man, we don't care about this."
Yeah, I think I think that's what Bail Organa would probably respond like.
Yeah.
You know, so it made sense to me.
Because like, I was thinking about like Bail and Luthen were kind of building the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
Like they're both building their own like kind of structure. Like 'cause he was doing spies.
Yeah, it's not like they weren't fond of Luthen and his crew, you know. It's like, and that's what was interesting for Clea too, to be coming back into this. Like, she didn't know if she's going to be hated there, or like, because she was very for Luthen, you know. Right. So the fact that
second in command.
She was like, it made it clear to Andor, like he died for this.
Yeah, like that's why it's important.
Yeah,
because he wouldn't just die for anything.
Right.
There's not many things he would die for. This is one of them.
Yeah, because in my opinion, Luthen seems like the type of character that like he's so powerful and good at what he does that he would not have to die for something unless it was something like this where he really actually needed to. You know,
this is it.
He could go on for so long doing so well at hiding himself and disguising, but Clea did a great job of making the importance of what these plans to the Death Star were. You know, yeah. I'm really happy with the show. I think they did a great job in the finale. It really is leading perfectly into Rogue One. I'm probably gonna go and watch Rogue One now. You know,
I should.
It'll be good to watch it right after.
Is this the best live action Star Wars show to you?
My favorite's Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's definitely, like, if you want to say
second for me for sure.
I would say second. It's definitely, Mandalorian is more cliche Star Wars, meaning it's more of like the shoot 'em up.
Yeah.
But I think this is it's good.
Yeah,
I think this is
really good. What I love about this more than Mandalorian, in my opinion, I like Mandalorian better as a show, but more than Mandalorian, I think this show is a lot more George Lucas feeling.
I would agree.
You know, I've reiterated it like twice now in our podcast, but the fact that I think of it like a war and the way we're thinking of the Imperial throughout this whole show, and it's leading perfectly into Rogue One, and it just feels very George Lucas, and they did a really good job at portraying that. And I know a lot of people out there think Disney has not been with the last few shows, and I can agree with it on some of it, you know, but they did a great job in this one, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you made it this far in the episode, let us know what we forgot to talk about. Send me a message at Obi1_Mmeobi on Instagram. I get messages every week. So go ahead and send me a message, and maybe I'll read one someday. Maybe we'll cover a message next week. If you did make it this far, if you could leave us a review, if you're on Spotify, if you're on Apple Podcast, go ahead and leave us a review as well. And with that, that is our finale of Andor Season 2. Thank you for joining us. Ethan, may the Force be with you.
Goodbye.